morning. Welcome to day 51 of the 100-day project. This is day 50 and the video's up. You are welcome to go watch it if you like. We made 50 tags and 9 bookmarks out of this huge sheet of paper, 18 by 24, I think, piece of watercolor paper. So let me get set up for today. What I want to do today is use up some more of my scraps. I used up a ton of scrapbook paper scraps about a year or two ago. During my absence, what I did was played around with different things when the mood actually hit, and I really wanted to get rid of some scrapbook paper scraps because I had a lot. And I also got rid of a bunch of scrap paper. I donated it to a school. The scraps that I had left, I took and I made little booklets. So I want to show you what I did with the scraps that I had, then we'll get started on one that you can make with your scraps. These are just little booklets of scraps, and it's a piece of paper the size that like this is a leftover sheet, so squared off I left it. It's the center of my book, and the rest of these are like just torn pieces of paper that were scraps in my scrap bin, and I just left them like this. If I didn't want it straight, I went ahead and tore the edge, but the pieces themselves, these are the sizes they were when I added them to my book. I just found different sizes and sort of nestled them in each other and made sure they stuck out in progression like that. Some of them don't, but some of them do. And then I added scraps like this. I just made little scrap flowers and stapled the center. And then I had a bunch of tags, these little tiny tags. I was doing the 100-day project, believe it or not, without videoing, but I quit. I quit doing it. I just couldn't sustain the level of creativity because I was going through a really funky time. So these were tags that I made in conjunction with the page I did for the day or whatever I did for the day. I made a tag to go with them and I put a word on every one. So I was using 100 tags, 100 words, a bunch of scraps, and then making something on top of it. And I just never followed through. I just did that with all the scraps I could find, made flowers, and just stuck them all together, bound them with a little bit of string. So I'll quickly go through and just show you a few pages. And these, they were long pieces of scraps, like half a sheet of paper left. And I just folded down the side and made a little fold in the front so the contrast would show on the front. I'm gonna gather up my scraps. I've got a few over here. I don't have as many of these type scraps as I used to because I used them all, as you can see, but I do have some that I've accumulated, and we're just gonna make a small book. So you can use up some of your scraps too. All right, I'll be right back. Let me find you. Where are you? There you are. That's you. Okay, these are the scraps that I have gotten together that caught my eye. This is not the same type of scrap, but I thought it was pretty, so I grabbed it. And then I have my index cards. These are the starter index cards that I showed you the other day. I kept on my desk for a long time and got rid of paint and stuff like that. And I thought maybe I could use a couple of those in my little book. And then of course yesterday's scraps were still on my table. I don't know that I'll use those, but they're here. Okay, I went through all the big pieces, and this scrap here I like the best because it's sturdy. It could be the cover of the book, and it's handmade paper. These two pieces I really like, so I'm gonna go ahead and just rip off the rest of the sheet. And I don't bother with all the edges, I just don't. But I do want a certain consistency of length, and I don't like how long this comes out, so I'm going to tear off the edges. Maybe it'll go on top, actually. Maybe I like that. I don't know. I could tear a little bit of this off if I want this to show more. And this piece here, let's see how it looks. Like that. So I'll just tear off the edges. Now I have this piece. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. And I want that on the outside. I may not use all of these, but it's a start. I think that's all I want. So once you get your book together, you're gonna look through it and see that pages have white blank space on the back of your papers. I don't like that. A lot of my books have it though. And you can go ahead before you put your book together and glue pages together. What I will do, I'll come back and I'll just start gluing my scraps in it. But I think I'm gonna look at it off camera and organize it a little differently maybe, and then we'll bind it. Okay, I've decided to use this envelope. Okay, I've got all my papers lined up, and I try to get everything centered up so that the center thread will at least catch all the papers, because I know that, for example, this paper in the center here won't get caught up here and down here. But I'm planning on gluing this down anyway, so it's okay. The outside paper, if I start too far up, won't get caught either. So I'm going to start mine down pretty low, and I'm going to do 3 stitches, one here, and one here. Doesn't matter. You can do anything you want. It's your book. So I have a couple of needles I keep in my little makeup sponge. I can use an awl or a pokey tool to make my holes, but since I have this big needle, I'll use that. Then I have my needle that I'm going to use to bind my book threaded with the thread I'm going to use. It's Natural Hemp Cord by Doris. So I'm going to make my holes. I'm just going to do an easy pamphlet stitch is all. I'm going to find the center of this book page here. Just poke a hole through. And then I'm going to go a little further up right here, because I want to catch this outside one. I'm going to go through the opposite side, which is a little more difficult, but you can do it. And then the same down here. Catch this one down here. Probably, I'll guesstimate this one, see if I can make it. Yep, we did it. Okay, just as long as you can bind it, it doesn't have to be perfectly even. And then I want my strings on the outside, so I'm going to start on the outside. I'll start in the center. Go in the center hole. Pull it through and then leave a tail in the back for tying. Oh, and I should have told you, I cut my string about 3 sizes of the length of my book. I did 3 and then I cut. Probably don't need that much, but that's what I did just to make sure I had enough. And go up to the top hole, like this, here. Bring your needle through, make sure this doesn't come through. Kind of pull it tight. Then we're going to go all the way down to the bottom one, like this. Turn her over. Down to the bottom one down here. Bring your needle up through there. Okay, and then make sure it's taut. Don't pull too hard because your papers will rip. And then back through the center hole. And when you come through the center hole, this string here is on the left side of your string here. Come up the hole on the right side of your string. Make sure it's taut in the center. See, I have a lot left over. I didn't need that much. And now you can see my strings are on both sides of the string in the center. And then I want to just tie it. And then trim it off. Okay, so now our book is bound together and everything got caught at least once. The ones that didn't, I can glue to the next page. It's not a big deal. It's just a scrapbook. If it falls apart, just make another one. So I'm going to glue this down because this is going to wobble. I'm going to glue this down to this page and then work around it, I think. I'm looking through my index cards, my starter cards, to see if there's anything that I like to put on this cover here. Because I don't really care about the cover. I just want to put something pretty there. And I was looking at different ones. Look for something to put on your cover or in the front that would make it look pretty, and then keep it to the side because we'll come back to that. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to go back through my scraps again and see if there's any lightweight papers that I could maybe put on the backs of these to cover the white until I come back to work on it. Maybe I'll put some paint down. But I'm going to look through just see if there's any papers that I like. So I will be back after I finish looking through all my little papers here. Okay, I have some papers. And so for this page here, I'm gonna glue down this. And then this page here, I'm gonna glue down that. And this page, I'm gonna glue down a hodgepodge of these colors here. And then on this one, I'm gonna glue this page to this and this page to this. And on this one, I'm going to glue this one here, and this one, I'm going to have this, and maybe a little piece of this here, and then this one's going to have this. I really hate to use this. I love this. I might change my mind because I love it. I think I'll glue this to this, and then the rest of it I'm not sure about. I might use this. But we're gonna get started with this part. So I'm gonna glue off camera. When I come back, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this one's glued down, and after it's glued, you've got your white showing on this side. I'm just gonna go through and tear that off. So I'm just gonna follow the line of the page behind it. My pages are glued. I'll just flip through real quick. I might make this a painty book, like drop excess paint in here and then do something with it at the end. But right now, let's go ahead and make a tag that we can put in our book. And I'm gonna use one of these little ones. And I'm just gonna take these scraps that I pulled out as I was going through putting my papers away. And I'm gonna see if I can come up with something I like. I really like this. I like that too. Maybe I'll make 2 tags. And then I want something little in here, maybe a word. Let me find a word somewhere. Okay, I cut 2 words out and I glued them to the little brown scrap paper. And one of the words is satisfaction and the other word is socks with a question mark. Anybody paying attention? Does anybody know why I chose the word socks? Let's see how much you pay attention. Let's see how good you are. Okay, I just used a little punch and I punched out a little flower for that center, and then I punched half a flower for this one here. So I need a little bit of ribbon on the ends here. I've got my ribbons in, and these are really not ribbons. These are strips of muslin that I dyed, and I just stuck it on the end of my tag. And if you want to distress your tag, go ahead and distress your tag. I'm not going to distress mine. I'm going to stick this one inside the book, and I found when I was gluing my pages, this little section here has a page that's already kind of glued, and just temporarily I'm going to stick my tag in there. I'll probably move it. And this one I think I want to put on the very front. I'm trying to decide, maybe I don't want these cards on the front here because I really want this tag here, and that doesn't look bad, but it's not doing it for me. Then I thought maybe I should use a piece of this. Just put that right there. Maybe I'll try that. Well, I don't know about the tag now, but I really like this paper here, so I'm going to glue this paper down here. Maybe I'll put it like that. I kind of like it like that. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to glue it down just like this. And I'm not going to actually glue down my tag. I'm going to staple it so I can remove it easy if I want to. Now, I can take it off if I want to, if I decide I want to do something to make this different. I want to put a little bit more ribbon work on here to make it prettier. Maybe something to keep it tied together, and maybe something on the edge. Got this piece of ribbon I'm going to put in the center of my book, and then I'm going to tie it on the outside. Okay, I've got my ribbon tied on the side, and then I've got this piece of muslin that's dyed that I'm going to stick on the outside. That's it for temporary. I'll probably change how I do things later on, and we will revisit this another time possibly. For today, this is a good way to use up scraps of paper, scraps on your tags, and scraps of ribbon. All right, I hope you have a great whatever it is. I will see you tomorrow for day 52. Thanks for being here. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.